On Friday. It must be Burnie's Applebox, and we are here. I would like to introduce my co-host, Mr. Gary Hyman. How you doing,
Back
brother?
for another
Back
week of
Back
untortured.
for more.
Untortured shoulder.
Yeah, we'll get you. We'll get you this time, Gary. And I'd like to say hi to the guys who actually make the show happen, Sean and Tony, back in the pit.
Hey, everyone.
Peanut clap.
There they are. Yep,
See
yep. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for everything. And oh, by the way, everybody who I woke up this morning with my group event, I apologize very much. If you're watching, thank you, but I'll learn what I'm doing next time. There won't be a next time like that, I can assure you. But no, sorry to put anybody through any changes this morning on that one. But you know, today, Gary, what I thought would talk about motivation. You know, I did a couple of quickie little motivation live videos on my personal Facebook page. They got great responses, and it just made me think that how important it is to stay motivated. And I personally have had some problems in the last couple months staying motivated, staying focused.
Yeah, it's true, Bernie, because you're coming out of the holidays. And it was a lot of rest,
and the stress of
and
the
stress,
holidays
that's true too. And to get motivated, get moving again, it's always the toughest thing.
It is. It is. And you know, I have come to the point of where I'm. It's no longer for me able to just like, oh, I'll snap out of it. Right. Oh, I'll do this. Maybe it's because I know so much more and I know myself better. I know that I actually have to, I don't like this word, but I just control myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? I am responsible for the way my head works. I am responsible for my own thoughts, you know, and that's something I want to get into here a little bit too, because I think it kind of comes down to motivation, and that's, like, if you're in the wrong place, don't just tell yourself to go out there and kick ass. That's not going to do you any good, you know. You've got to get your head in a place where you're open and where you're willing, and you understand how you talk to yourself, and that is so good. You know, I'll tell you something too, because it's not just about, I know I probably come off this way talking about gear or the equipment or the trucks. You can get hung up in that, and you can start making that gear and the process and what you do the priority, and it's not. And I'll tell you, you know how someone else can wake you up when you're by asking a question, a simple question. This kid called me. Actually, it was yesterday, so I've kind of been on this journey before, but he called me yesterday, and he was referred to me by someone else who I'm good friends with, who's completely out of state, but he's in LA. So he calls me up and he goes, this friend told him to call me and ask for some advice. You know, I go, well, what are you doing? He goes, well, I want to start a grip truck, you know, and I want to do that. And here this kid is, out of the military, you know, he was in logistics, you know, and he's in LA now, and he wants to come here, and really smart guy. He's working on a business plan. He has access to some money, you know, some loans and stuff like that. Ex-service guy, you know. So I started talking, and we started talking about, well, you know, what do you want to buy? And I said, listen, let me tell you something. Before you spend a penny on any equipment, and waste your money, and I'll say right now it'll be a waste of money, there's something you need to do first. He goes, what's that? I go, network.
Yes.
Network. I go, I said, and here's the example I gave him. I go, I'll be 68 in 6 weeks, okay? And I am sitting here, not somebody calls out that they want to go to the gaffer, you know, that you don't call 60-year-old guys to go on your set and be the gaffer.
Right.
There's plenty of great young guys that are,
Sure.
you know, 20 years younger, maybe more,
Sure.
that can handle that job fine. But I'm getting a lot of calls. I get a lot of responses, and I do that. I go, there's one reason why. It's because I have spent years networking and talking and displaying who I am on social media and telling people about me. I said, you can make money off of gear never buying gear.
That's true.
You know, some of the biggest money I get are stuff I sub-rent and go out and put on a set and bring it back.
Sure.
I never bought that gear. I get pure profit right off the start. I don't have to make an investment. I go, you can do that too. I go, but it's worthless to have gear unless you've gone out and networked with people. You know? And where that comes into motivation, you cannot go out and honestly network unless you're happy with yourself, unless you're proud of yourself, unless you've got something to show someone, right?
Yeah,
and
that's so true.
And pitch them. So it all comes back to networking. So I had a wonderful conversation with this kid. We're going to meet up in about a week or so. But he goes, thank you so much. He goes, no one has told me that. No one has told me that. They've all talked about gear, which he's asking about. I mean, I don't think they did anything wrong. But you know what? That is a key thing. And the way that you can effectively network is by staying motivated.
It's true.
You know, to get out of your comfortable home that I know you want to stay in, but you're going to that 6 o'clock meetup, you know, where the filmmakers are, wherever your community is, or whatever event you're going to, or on social media, or participating in a live stream or anything like that. That is where you need to be. You need to be doing that, and you've got to be motivated to do that. You've got to be motivated to get out of the house, to go to your uncomfortable zone, to press flesh, and not have any guarantee of what's going to happen. You got to be motivated for that.
Absolutely. You know? You got to, you know, get established in the industry. Your name's got to get around, and your name's got to be good in the industry. You can't leave any trails.
One bad thing,
and
you start going downhill.
Absolutely. And you could buy as much gear as you want, put it in a truck, make it nice and shiny and new, but if there's no clients calling you, then what have you done?
If nobody wants you on set, you're not going to rent your gear. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. And you know what? Because I think this is something too, Gary, and this is a motivation. I'm going to go through some really specific things here too. So, you know, this isn't just all talking about motivation. I've got some actionable stuff that I want to throw out there. But first, I will say this. Before you can motivate yourself, you need to talk to yourself correctly. You need to be able to have a conversation with yourself that is not negative, that is positive, that is uplifting to you. And
true.
And what the reference I'm going to make is stop the small fights. Okay? Think of this. Just give this a scenario. Tell me if it's happened before or not. You know, is that you'll meet up with somebody, and I don't know where it is, you know, a store, you know, a personal friend, whatever. They're not in good sorts, and they say something that annoys you. And you may be very rightfully, you know, annoyed by it. They're wrong, and they should know it, and they don't. You spend more time on that conversation all day long than any other conversation you have. And it's usually wrapped around, I'm talking about me now, and it's usually wrapped around something somebody did wrong. You don't feel like they understand. You feel like they dissed you, and it pisses you off.
That's right.
And you know what you're walking around with? A pissed off look on your face.
Absolutely.
And I can guarantee you, the next time you answer that phone, it is not going to be as friendly as if you weren't concerned with that. So I would say, first of all, stop the small fights. Stop the small fights in your head. You've got to control that. That is the first step to motivation.
One remedy that I always go, if I'm having a bad day,
yeah,
and I see a client calling and I know it's just going to be a rough call, kind of deal, I always try to put a smile on my face before I even answer the phone.
Wow, that's a great one. Hear that. Put a smile on your face before you answer the phone. That's great.
That's key.
That helps you too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that helps you too. Tony, we got a question out there?
Not necessarily a question, but a comment.
Okay.
Yeah, William Primrose, our good friend.
Yes, sir. William, how you doing, brother?
Stepping back to a point you made, this is when you go to filmmaking network events, don't forget to bring business cards.
Oh, one great note right there, for sure. You want to bring contact information. You want that information going out. Don't forget to bring those cards. And also one thing too, if you probably got your cell phone with you, what I do is go right on Facebook, get a name, put it in, give them a like.
That's your digital.
That's your digital. That's almost like the thing that now use. And plus you have the added advantage. This is somebody you just met. Now you can actually, and I don't like to use, not vet maybe, but you can look and see what that guy's been posted, or guy or gal, and find out what's going on with them. Maybe there's something you see that directly relates to you at that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can take advantage.
I agree, Bern.
Yeah.
Talking about not only negativity in business, but negativity in life also. There's a lot of things that can get you down during the day. But you just have to know how to step aside.
Yes.
File that away. For another day.
Yep.
And get focused.
Move up. Focus. In fact, Gary, I have got a few things here that I wrote down that I think, we talked about that fighting in your head. Yes. You know what I mean? And that's really what it is. It's a battle with yourself.
Constant.
Because we don't want to live like that, but somehow we give the bad people more space in our head than the good people. And frankly, I mean, this goes without saying, many more people have been good to me and helped me and supported me than anybody has dissed me.
Of course.
And usually the people that diss me really have been either something's been wrong or they've been misguided.
Sure.
Let me just put it that way. So I mean that's really something that's you got to always stay on.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I got several here. But one of the things, and we've talked about this before, Gary, and I think it's so important, stop the gossip, okay? And if you hear gossip about yourself, you don't like it, okay? But let me tell you what's worse. Listening to the gossip about other people. Let me tell you, and you know what? And let's be real here. You do want to hear it.
Well, of course.
You do want to hear it because for some devilish reason, right, you feel better in some way if you think the other guy's down. Now, that's not always true. Don't get me wrong. You don't want anybody to suffer any real, like, child's been hurt or they're hurt or injured or, a big economic problem or anything like that. But you think, ooh, I'm glad that wasn't me. You know what I mean? I hear that. But listen, what you do when you involve yourself in gossip, think of where your mind is right then. What's your mind doing? It's going over somebody else's problem.
Sure.
It's outside of yourself, and it's about somebody being down. And you're glad it wasn't you. It scares you.
That's
and that
right.
probably makes you feel safer. But you should not feel any better about yourself because someone else is having a problem. So that is one thing I would say. First, and what all of these are is about cleansing your mind.
Sure, absolutely.
And I'm speaking really out of some personal stuff here.
Sure.
I found that changes in my life, because that's usually what it comes up. As I said at the beginning, I'm not going out as much. Well, when you're on set and you're a gaffer, people always go, "Oh, that looks great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you."
You get the pat on the back.
You get the pat on the back. That's great. Now I'm mostly running the business, taking care of the trucks, doing to make sure everything. And now what people tell me is, hey, we're out of black wrap.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Hey, we don't have this. Hey, why don't you get that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's do this for the truck. You know? And those are great, and you want that feedback.
Sure.
But it's not the same thing. And I think I've started. I started going down the road of like, oh, don't tell me any more problems. You know what I mean? Don't do this. You know, and just like started to not be as motivated as I like to be, and positive as I like to be. You know.
You know, that's interesting. You talk about is that, well, you know, having conversations out there, and you'll be saying, oh, I got a job next week, and you know, and you're thinking, oh, that's great, and then all of a sudden, did you hear about da-da-da? And boy, your attention focuses right on that person.
Yes.
What happened?
What happened?
What happened?
What
well,
happened?
It's, you know, it's in us already to do that.
It's innate in us, and you must stop it.
That's the deal.
Because it's negative for you, and you don't want to know. Yes, finding out what happened to somebody, I get this.
Sure.
Do not dwell on that. Certainly you want to find out something bad happened. First thing I would suggest, call that person and offer help if it's appropriate. Yeah. It may not be appropriate.
Right.
But if it's appropriate, offer something.
Sure.
Because that puts you in the category of helping. Even, and I say maybe even more importantly so, if it's somebody whom you weren't that close to, or maybe you've had a little, some sort of falling out. It's not, look, you don't want to keep it going.
No.
That's the bottom line.
No.
You want
to
move
past it.
Got to move past
move forward,
it.
always.
So let me go on to another one here. And this comes back to, I think, self-value, self-worth, which I think everybody needs to be very conscious of and thinking about. But stop wanting to be let in, okay? Yeah. Stop waiting for people to anoint you with what you want to do. It doesn't matter what they think. It doesn't, look, good or bad, it really makes very little difference in most cases what someone thinks about you. You focus on your work.
Right.
You do your best to improve your skills.
Right.
You're honest with yourself, and you're working even when you're not getting paid to improve yourself. You know, and that goes at all ages. Yeah. Learning, looking stuff up. You know, keeping yourself. Now it changes every day.
Sure.
You've got to be on there learning every day. But that is, do not wait for people to anoint you.
Yeah.
You anoint yourself. You know, I learned something in this. You've got me going now, Gary.
Oh, thank God.
I learned something in this business is you cannot pick a person out and put them in this business. Both of us have tried that with people.
Many a time.
And it will fail every time.
Yes.
This business is self-selectors.
Oh, yeah.
This business is about somebody who goes out and makes their own way. I did it, you did it. And look, I started in this business as a 40-year-old guy who knew nothing about production. I've said it a million times, as a PA, you know. I mean, I'm sure most of the people on set thought I must have just got out of prison if I'm a $50 a day PA at my age. You know, what's that guy doing? You know, but I didn't wait for anybody to say, yes, you can do this. I went in and attacked it. And it was one of the funnest things I learned in my life that, hey, I decide what I do. No one else does.
That's right.
That's important. You decide. So take charge.
Yes.
Take charge of yourself.
Yes. And that makes for a good movie, Bernie. I like that. The 40-year-old PA.
Yeah. I think
Sean, write that down.
No, wait, Gary, they did it. Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, all right. Well, we both, look, if you folks don't think it's funny, it's okay. We think
it's funny. That's all that counts anyway.
We're all good, yes. We're only doing it for us anyway. Yeah. So, okay, here's another one, and it's a little bit like that. Don't worry about being included, okay? Do not worry if I'm in this group or that group. Am I in the inner circle? Am I on the outs? I used to worry about that stuff, and I'm telling you, it does you zero good. In fact, what you are doing is a disservice to yourself because you're taking your eyes and your mind off of the real prize, which is being in the industry, achieving your goal, achieving what you set out to do, and now you're saying, oh, I'm not good enough unless I'm over here with these guys, and it is not the case.
No.
Right?
Get off that freeway, exit that freeway, get around that traffic jam, and get back on.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you.
It's so easy to do, but people sometimes they think they have to belong to that group. Well, and it's no reason at all. You got to get ahead of the group.
So much. And you know what? It's funny because this very thing, it happened to be. I remember times where I'm thinking, oh, I'm not in with those guys. They're working all the time. I want to be in and work all the time too.
Sure.
It's not them. It's you.
Yeah.
They don't hire a group. They don't hire you because you're with this group. You maybe get introduced to people.
Sure.
Break out, get on your own, kick ass, and go out there and get jobs, and you'll have more. I remember thinking when I was gaffing, and I was the poor kid on the block. I was a kid with just a van and all my stuff, and most of it bought used.
Sure.
And I was always just like, boy, I wonder if I'm working as much as those guys. I wonder if those guys are working as much as screw. Yeah. And I realized once I came out of that it didn't even matter what they were doing. I was killing it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Even they're killing it, I'm killing it.
Yeah.
So don't worry about inclusion. Yeah. And remember, we're going to get to the actual motivating things that you can do and things you can tell yourself and the ways to think. But first, you've got to clear your mind. If your mind is negative, if it's down in the gutter, if it's not working correctly, you're not going to be able to motivate yourself. You've got to clear that up. You've got to start with a clean palate. So don't let all this crap sit there and tackle you.
Yeah, you got to wipe the slate in the morning.
Clean. Oh,
wipe it clean.
Wipe it
Get
clean.
that clean.
Wipe it clean.
Because any little tidbits that you get hit up in the morning, this and that, or from the previous day, it's just going to drag you down.
And mornings are the pivotal time to gauge your mood.
Yes.
If something, maybe you had bad dreams, you're not even conscious of it. But look at yourself and say, what kind of mood am I in right now? Am I a little annoyed? Did I get enough sleep? Maybe there's just something that you can't pin that's bothering you. That happens to me a lot, where something bothering me and I haven't identified it yet, but it's there.
It's there.
I haven't acknowledged
subconsciously.
I haven't acknowledged that it is. And so that's the time to gauge your mood and get on it. Now, what I do every morning when I wake up, every single morning without fail, as soon as I'm conscious, I pray, I thank God for everybody who has been in my life. Not just the good ones either.
Right.
Okay? The bad ones, because I've got to ask myself and end up at this question, how did I end up here?
Right.
I ended up here by every experience that I had leading up to this very moment. So I'm not going to, and I'd say, God, the higher power, spiritually. If you don't believe in that, then just look at the reality of it. That's your thing. So I'm not saying you have to believe in God or anything like that, but for me, that is where I start off. Now, that doesn't put me in a good mood, but I have a place to start from.
Absolutely. You got the starting line.
And
you got to have that starting line, and you got to have a goal for that day. What are you going to get accomplished?
That's very good. That's very good. I'm going to cover some of that, but you know what I call that, Gary? That is doing something every day to push yourself forward. And here's the most important part of that, I think. The smaller is the more important. Yes. Okay, it's not this big thing you're going to do that turns the corner and puts you on your pathway. Not. It's never, ever, ever, ever that. Sure. It's never that. It's the small things.
It's short-term. It's a short-term goals versus the long-term
because the small things are the things that get you there. Absolutely. It's every day. I remember when I started my business years ago, I thought, there's one, and I didn't even have the gear in my van yet. I didn't even own a van, but I thought, I've got this gear. I've got to keep adding to it. Every day I'm going to do something to push myself forward, talk to a producer, get a piece of gear, go get the car fixed for whatever I need.
Sure.
Every day I'm going to do that to push myself forward, and it worked. And it works fast too.
Yeah.
Usually we're far too impatient.
Yes.
With something. Look how long it seemed to get through school when you were a kid. Now you have a kid,
Right.
And they go, God, you're in 6th grade already?
Yeah, what
I thought
happened?
I just changed your diapers this morning. You know, so I mean, your timeline that you're experiencing isn't a real timeline. You have to look at it outside yourself.
Absolutely.
And be very honest with yourself about your progression. Also, and this goes true, you know when you're lying to yourself.
Oh, wow.
You know when you're lying to yourself, right? And if you don't, you got to get in touch with that real quick.
Usually your nose grows right in front of you.
I'll take your word for it, Gary.
Exactly.
All right. All right.
For it.
And I think this kind of what is it? Half of it's imaginary, but here, quit trying to live up to what you think are other people's expectations of you. Okay? Stop that. That's the most destructive thing that you can do. That's the most destructive. You know, I talked about when I was PA at 40, right? Mm-hmm. People would look at me. People would come up to me like I was the director. Usually I was the oldest guy on set. That's right. You know what I mean? And I just go, I don't know, ask the director. Yeah. Stan, that's for you. But I don't know, ask the director. You know, because it is. And people look at you funny and they goes, look, I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? And because it was my first time, I didn't have an expectation of knowing what I was doing. I was just there to be a body and a mind and help. You know what I mean? And try to get everybody through the day. So that is the most. You think people have these huge expectations of you, and they may. But if they're incorrect and they're not expectations that are reasonable or that you just do not have, you have to say that. I don't know that.
Sure.
I can't do that. I will. You could say, I'll try, but I cannot guarantee any results. You think people are looking to you for that? Forget it. Forget it. Do not think, don't try to put yourself in that category where you're going to make somebody happy. You're never going to make them happy, and you're only going to feel bad about the process. So forget about other people's expectations of you. Don't cloud your mind with that.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree, Bernie. That's a great major point.
Yeah, because we've been in that situation a million times.
A million
right?
times,
You know, it's like when you have a client that doesn't order any of the lights you suggested, and then they come in and they go, well, why can't we do that? Well, because you didn't.
Yeah, you ordered a 1K, we should have a 10K.
Yeah, you ordered tungsten and we're outdoors.
You're outdoors.
Yeah. So, okay. Here's another one, and I'll state it just like I wrote it down. Stop caring about what some asshole said to you, okay? And that kind of goes back to our first point. But you know what? Here it is, and this is more than just somebody saying to her, annoying you or whatever. You know, there are people. I feel like I'm blessed, and I didn't feel like this at the time, but I feel like I've been blessed because everybody badmouthed me, I felt, when I got into business. Now, that's an overstatement. I understand it, you know. But there were people I was coming along that disrupted their plans. You know what I mean? Me being in the business wasn't the vision they had of themselves being in the business, if you will. So people would say things to me, and it was snarky. It was that. It would get back to me or something like that. And that would make the biggest difference to me. That would be so, like, I would be, you know, hurt. And of course, my motivation when something like that is like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going after you. You know what I mean? I'm going after your clients. I'm going after this. And I soon realized that was the absolute wrong way to approach that problem. And let me tell you what I did. And I have never found an exception to this, by the way. But it takes patience. It takes you being in control of your mind, not the other way around, where your mind's controlling you.
Sure.
I came to the conclusion, if this guy's pissing me off, he's probably pissing a lot of other people off, right? I mean, it rarely happens where I'm the only guy that's like, he's pissed off, right?
Sure.
And he's a sweetheart to everybody else.
Right.
So I thought, let the guy end his own career. I'm going to set back. I'm not going to badmouth him. And this is like opposite of everything that I had ever done or learned. But I'm not going to say, if somebody mentions his name, I'm going to smile and go, yeah, he's pretty good. You know, and
Sure.
no bad mouthing. Without exception. Without exception, over a course of 10 years, okay, everybody I had a problem killed themselves out of the business. I don't mean they killed themselves. I mean that they were out of the business, they didn't have clients, they weren't ever a concern to me. They were, none of those people were ever a direct concern to me. They were just gone. I didn't pay attention to what they were doing. They were behind me. They were a whole different world and subject away from me. You know, so let me tell you that. Somebody makes you mad, you think you've got to get even, okay? Just sit back and watch the show.
Yeah.
Because it's coming. It's coming. But you got to have faith, and you can't worry about it. And it doesn't matter if something bad happens to them or something good happens to them. They're not in your world anymore. Okay?
Yeah.
And remember, these are all things to prepare you to motivate yourself. This is about clearing the palate.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
it's about clearing your mind and being into a place where now you take control. Because something, and I'll tell you, and you know this too, is you're a leader. You're a leader. You're a natural leader. And when you clear your palate, when you have that mindset, man, people attract to you.
Yes.
And I mean, they really attract to you.
It's true.
You know, I'm really always surprised at the amount of people that ask me things, that come up and say, you know, what are we going to do? You know, what should I do here? What should I do there? You know, it's all that. So listen, I think we're going to take a quick break here, Gary, and we're going to come back with some more. So please don't go away.
Don't go away.
Hey everybody, and we are back. We are back. Okay, so let's go on with this, because this is probably taking a little longer than what I thought it would. I got to fill an hour up.
At least
I kept writing. I go, oh, that's 15 minutes.
That's right. My flight doesn't take off for another hour.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. We'll have you up there. Don't worry about it.
Thank you.
This time we'll do it for sure. Stop trying to please everyone. Stop trying to make everybody happy. Everybody's not going to be happy.
Right. No.
Okay?
No.
And there's somebody you have to make happy first, and that's you.
Sure.
Okay? There's one person that needs to be taken care of in all of this, and that's you. Stop trying to make everyone happy. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Telling people, excuse me, the word no. The word no, I can't, or no, I won't, or I don't want to,
right,
work just fine in a conversation when somebody's asking you to do something.
Right.
Okay? You may feel like you have to, or there's some, I mean, you have to
There's a fine line.
Well, there's a fine line, and I think you have to make the judgment for yourself. People ask me to do things, and I help them out all the time.
Sure.
That's not a problem. That's not a problem.
Sure.
But if it's going to interfere with my goal, if it's going to interfere with where I'm going, if it takes me away from my intended target, then you have to say no.
Yeah.
You have to say no, you know, and you can explain it to people, and you can do it. You can offer suggestions and alternatives, but do not waste a single minute, not 1 second, feeling guilty about saying no.
That's true, Bernie. You know, I was on a set the other day, and I just met this guy, you know, and he was sort of the coordinator, production coordinator,
right,
and the engineer. He was wearing all the hats, and I walked in, I go, hey, well, how would you like the shot? And right off the bat, he was just angry. He was just angry with, oh, I don't care, just put it over there, da, da, da. Nobody's watching, blah, blah. It was a live stream. And I go, okay. Yeah. And just, it seemed like everything I said and everything I recommended, everything, whatever. Yeah. So sometimes when you're on set, no matter what you do, maybe the client's in a bad mood, maybe the gaffer, the camera guy. So don't take it to heart.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
Stay focused, do your job.
Absolutely.
And I always say, kill them with kindness.
Kill them with kindness.
Because if you try to fight it, what's going to end up?
Do not fight with it. Do not fight with it. The more kindness you give the angry person, the deeper in a hole it puts them. You know what I mean? And don't even focus on them. Focus on what you have to do. Right. You know what I mean? If you have to document something, document it.
Sure.
You know? But that is so true, dude. You cannot change everybody, and that goes back to those things we talked about too, is just putting that out of your mind. But you're going to run into them, and they're real. Don't react.
That's right.
That's the
because
thing.
that's what they want.
That's exactly what they want.
They want to come on.
They want to come on. They want. They're feeling bad. They want somebody else to feel bad, and it's human nature. You feel good. You want somebody else to feel good.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
And you don't always have the option of doing that for people, but because you got to be honest. Yeah. But that's the way it should go.
Sure. I agree, Bern. You know, this business is hard enough as it is because when you show up to the set, you got to give 150%.
Yep.
And, you know, the whole, train of thought is you got to do a great job. You got to be there for the client. But if somebody's going to drag you down because of a situation they were in earlier that day or the day before, don't let them drag you down.
No, don't let them get you down.
You be the man. You be the better man.
You be the better person. Absolutely. Okay, this one, it falls in line with the other stuff, but I think it's important and it's a nuance. Stop trying to change people's minds about you. Okay, stop trying to change people's minds about you. First of all, if they're carrying around an opinion of you, you've probably already won, frankly, good or bad, because they know who you are.
Sure.
They know how you fit in their life. That's all you need. If your goal is to go out and work sets, work jobs, do that, then all the parties know they're going to make their own judgments on you.
Sure.
They are not going to change their mind unless they're given a reason to change their mind. Let me give you an example. There's a whole group of people that I met when I was a PA/number 2 grip. In other words, I wasn't, you call the key grip, the key grip calls a grip.
Sure.
I was the number 2 grip he would call if number 1 grip that he called.
Sure.
So I was on that level or PA. Now, it was very important to me what people thought of me because that was going to directly reflect my income. How much money I make, how many calls I got. It was very important for me to think people thought of me in a certain way. But I realized that the people I was that PA number 2 guy were never going to make me the key grip.
Right.
Or the gaffer.
Right.
They thought of me as one thing.
Sure.
And I could have tried for the next 20 years to get them to think of me as something more, but that's how they knew me.
Sure.
And what I needed to do is to move on to those new people.
Right.
I needed to move on to those people that thought of me as a gaffer, that thought of me as a key grip, that thought of me as the number 1. That's who I needed to talk to, not the old people I started with. They have their mind made up already. The only way I changed anybody's of that group's mind, and it's funny because not even when I became big and I had trucks and stuff like that, then they realized I was something else, but they go, how did the number 2 guy get that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's in their mind. You don't have to change that for them.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's up to you to do that. So forget about changing anybody's mind. Move on to new people. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Move on to a new group of people who are going to support your goals. All right? That's motivating. So remember, we haven't even got to the good stuff yet. So this is coming up. Let me just see what I wrote.
Yeah,
here.
and
I can't read my writing.
Bernie, here's the deal too: is that when you get recommended, you know, hey, are you available? No, but there's Joe Blow, whatever, you know, and says, yeah, he's a great guy. He's a little talkative, but he does great work.
Yeah.
Well, that's all that's said. So when you hit the set, they're thinking, oh my God, this guy's going to talk me out of house and home. He's a yacker.
Run,
exactly. But so when you get on set, you do your thing, you head down, and you you do quality work.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
you misprove the you know, what was ever said about you.
Head down, ears open, mouth shut.
Exactly.
Right? You know that one, Sean? I saw him over there laughing.
Yeah.
That's it. Sean goes, that's number one.
Yeah, Sean's new name is The Watcher. The Watcher. That's Sean's new name because he watches me work all the time.
The Watcher.
Your first viewer, Gary.
Oh, thank goodness.
Sean goes, I'm just trying to learn how to do it.
Yeah, how to do it. Show me how to
load
your van.
In there. Let's see it in the back.
Oh, the van's all done. That was a great job, Gary.
Now, how do you strap it into that?
Yeah,
show me that. Okay, and this is like one of the kind of wrap up on this thing. Focus on your vision. Focus on your vision, and let me tell you about your goals and goal setting and your vision and that. I don't care what your goal is. You had better be flexible enough for that goal to morph to more realistic, to a more realistic place. Because remember, you probably set that goal long before you knew all of the nuances of that goal.
Sure.
Okay? And you have to give yourself permission when you gain new information, when you know more than you did before you started, to be able to adjust the goal as it goes. Do not hold yourself like, no, by God, I said I'm going to be a DP and I'm going to be it, no matter how much I love sound. You know, that's a very, you know, stupid kind of analogy, but really be ready for your mind to expand. Be ready to understand more and take advantage of that opportunity. Because if you don't, you're going to be stuck in one place for, you know what I mean, forever doing something you don't like. What is that sign, Tony? Hold that up. What is that? Thank Donaldson for the comments. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, brother.
Right on.
Thank you, brother. So what I'm saying is be ready to change. You know, in this time, in this world right now, it's not the world I grew up in. There's nothing in this world that I relate to my old world that I actually grew up in and became of age and lived most of my life in. Same as you.
Yeah, you know, Bern, you know, when you set those long-term goals, you remember there's always going to be some slips and falls on the way.
Of course.
But don't let those slip and falls deter you from your long-term goals.
Right.
You can't, because it's going to happen. There's no clear path to success.
There is no clear path to success is exactly right, and no one knows. And this is the other thing. When you're out there doing that networking, hear people's stories. Listen to people's stories. They're a guide for you. That's a path for you that'll happen. I've got so many stories just from this show. I mean, I always talked about people and their experience getting the business, but just from this show, I've got so many stories of people in their path. They're mind-boggling. They're mind-blowing. Not what anybody would have thought. Also, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit more, but listen, how do you see your goals is one thing. You know what I mean? Is it kind of ill-defined or is it very defined? You know, I would say keeping your overall goal and really study that too, because you know, I used to think that I wanted to be an actor. You know, when I was up, because most people see kids, you know, they're acting, and you think, oh, that'd be good. I figured out as I became older, you know, I didn't really want to be an actor. I wanted to get laid a lot and make a bunch of money. That was my real goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? And of course, as a kid, that is a goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I realized as I got older, I go, yeah, I don't want to be an actor. I certainly don't need that much money.
Yeah. And I don't need to get laid that much.
No, I don't need to get laid. I tried not to say it again.
Right. I had to pull it in.
Yeah, thank you.
Or pull it out.
And remember with those goals too, is it for you or is it for somebody else? Is it for the person that your parents and family wanted you to be, that you're morphing their needs into your goal? Be very careful. Examine that. Examine that really closely, because you've got to go down to your core to find the goal, right?
Absolutely.
And remember, this is all about motivating yourself, because if you don't have the right goal, you will not be able to motivate yourself. If you're trying to motivate yourself for a goal that you're not true to and true to yourself and your understanding, you're not going to motivate yourself. It's not going to happen.
Get there.
Yeah.
Never get there.
Yeah. Here's another thing with your goal, because I believe this is very important. Does it include gain for others? And what I mean by that, not just your family or your persons or people that you're taking care of. Does it lift a group? Does it lift people up? Does it do something for everyone? Or are you just bilking them? Because if you're just doing it for money, money is not a goal.
Right.
Money is not a goal. Money is a byproduct of having a goal. That's right. Am I correct?
That's true.
You know?
So true.
I mean, if I was just out for the money, what would I be? I wouldn't be a gaffer.
Oh, no.
I mean, I wouldn't like, what I'm out for is that great feeling when I'm on set and I make a pretty picture.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Yeah.
That is my goal. Everything else is surrounded by that.
Exactly.
You know, that's my goal. Does it include future growth? I think we talked about that. You know what I mean? Is something you're going to, is there a brick wall there? Is there something, if you haven't defined your goal yet. If there's a brick wall in it, you haven't defined your goal, because a real goal should transcend everything. It should transcend whatever time it is, whatever, you know, whatever tech's on the market, any of that stuff. Does your vision of your goal, does that include transition? Because you are going to transition. Your industry is going to transition. Everything is going to transition. Or are you making the goal on what is happening right now? Because that's a mistake, because you'll get
sidetracked.
Yeah.
Easy.
Now, while you don't do it for the money, and money is not a goal, you know, it's a byproduct, right? You have to realistically look and understand how you're going to monetize yourself while you're achieving your goal. And if that's directly related to your goal, you should be doing things that maybe don't go directly in the direct path to your goal, but you are going there because you have to do this to achieve the next level up.
Right. It's you building your foundation.
But don't get confused about going, you know, taking a right turn and that's going to take you back up here. Right. It's not. No. It's just you're going for a quick sidestep.
Yes.
Okay. And I think this is important, because I'm talking like everybody's me right now, right? You know, this is my understanding of it, and that's what I'm giving you. I'm giving you my understanding of it. But you know what? Are you the type of person who is dedicated long-term to do that? You may not be. Your personality may be, you know, I hope it is for you, a few steps down from mine. Sure. You know what I mean? So you've got to understand yourself. Maybe you are happier in a situation where you don't have to achieve a big goal. You want to just work for somebody, but that is a goal. That's a goal, and you've got to keep yourself pumped up to achieve that goal. You know.
That's true. That's true. You know, Burnie, I want to say also, you know, in this industry, over a certain amount of time, you become the flavor of the month.
Oh yeah.
You know, and once you're in that zone of the flavor of the month where everybody's calling you, everybody wants you, you got the right gear, you got the right attitude, the right craftsmanship, that's the time where you have to excel. You got to excel those goals. You got to put it in fifth gear and get going. Don't waste that opportunity.
Is that not the truth, my friend? That's a really good point, and I think we should say it again. You're going to be, when you're working it right, there's a time where you're going to become, and it's just like, poof, you're the flavor of the month.
Oh, yes.
I call it the playmate of the month,
yes.
right? You know, I heard a playmate one time to describe, you know, she goes, when you're the playmate that month, the world is your oyster.
That's right.
You're going to every party, everybody wants you there. You know what? Next month is somebody else.
Oh, heck yeah.
That phone ain't ringing anymore.
That's right.
And that's the way it's going to be in your career, too. So that's exploit your opportunities.
Yes.
Exploit your opportunities. Do not be afraid. Do not hold back. That is a major, major step because that puts you on another plateau, right?
Yeah, another level of making it great in this business.
Yep. And lastly, I would just say this: when you're setting your goal, ask yourself this question: is it a dream, or is it a fantasy? You know, when I wanted to be an actor, that was a fantasy. When I wanted to be a gaffer, that was a dream.
Yes.
Okay. So that's, you know, really examine that. And you know what? That does come with some maturity. I would not expect a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid to have himself and his goals really, you know, I mean, solidly defined. Maybe they are, God bless them. But I would give somebody a little more time and maturity to set those goals. Don't be too fast. Go ahead and examine. Maybe you know but, you know, be careful with goal setting because that should put you on a path for life.
Absolutely. Because if you set your goals way too high and you try to get to them too quickly and you get knocked down, it can cost you maybe 6 months up to a year to get back to the level where you should have been. So just be careful.
Very good advice, Gary.
Watch your speed.
Very good advice. Watch your speed.
That's it.
And really, that I think I'm going to mention some of that, but it's worth saying again is like, watch your speed. This is not a contest that you end up winning the race at the end.
Right.
You know, nor is there a time where you can identify I've succeeded. You're in a constant state of success.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, boom, I'm there, I'm the guy. You know what I mean? Not at all. Not at all. Doesn't ever feel that way, and it's not really that way. Excuse me. So let's take this. These are my motivational techniques. So this is and this is stuff I've learned, stuff I do, and also stuff I should do because not everything that I've told you. All of this is coming from a very imperfect person. Okay, and the reason that I know it is because I've done every bad thing you could possibly do and continue to do and try to set myself back on the right course.
Sure.
You know, so as I mentioned before, it's take time to appreciate what you have, you know, every day. Now I do that in the morning. I thank God for what I have in my life, who has been in my life and all that. I also take a look around and I go, you know, look what I've got. It may be a sand trap to someone, but it's my castle. It's my castle, you know. So I'm very happy with that. I got a beautiful wife. I mean, there's things I can look around that I've had or I have now, and I can go, I am truly blessed.
Sure.
I am truly blessed. And part of it has been, you know, blessings and the hard work I put in. Sure. If you're not going to put in the daily hard work, you are not going to be a happy person.
Right.
Plain and simple. I'm sorry. I wish, believe me, I've been looking for the magic bullet where I can sit there, do nothing, you know, watch TV, collect money, and be happy. It doesn't work that way. That's why you hear so many people wire trust funders. Like if money was just it, every trust funder in the world ought to be just joyful. They ought to be floating down the street, you know. Quite the opposite from my experience. Here's one that I really like to do, and I tell people about this all the time, and I do it for myself too. How many people in the world, by number, would trade places with you? So now I look at myself and I ask myself this question. I own my own business. I'm in the media industry. I live in Laguna Beach. I'm independent. You know what I mean? I don't answer to a boss. I'm, you know, unfortunately, but I don't answer to a boss. I've got all that. I'm making decent money. Probably compared to the rest of the world, I'm in the 1%.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So let's just keep it in context. How many billion people, just sight unseen, given their life and me showing them, would trade places?
Sure.
I'll bet it's 3 or 4 billion, if not more.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, it's true.
So I'm in a place 4 billion other people would like to be. Am I going to diss that? Am I going to not take full advantage of that? Am I going to leave that to the side and say, oh no, but I want more? Hell no. Look, I'm going to respect those people who would trade places with me by trying to maximize my opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Get it.
Get it. Get it. It's there for the taking.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The only thing stopping yourself is yourself.
That's right.
At the end of the day.
That's right. That's right. And these people who would trade places with me, are you kidding? They thought they died and gone to heaven.
Oh, yeah.
If that happened to them, poof, overnight, it's just like, here's my big chance.
Right.
You know? Do something, and we mentioned this, do something every single day that propels you forward. You know, and I'll tell you, this is the small stuff too. This is the small stuff. This is not about a big day. This isn't about going out and buying 2 grip trucks that day. That's not the thing that propelled you forward. What propelled you forward was running back something for your client, or throwing something in, making sure that you made your client secure enough to call you back again, to give you another job, to get you down the road. It's about making a phone call when you're tired to a client to see if their needs were met.
Sure.
To take that extra step for somebody all the way up and down. Maybe somebody is working for you. Help them out. But there is something that you're doing every day. Paying your license plate fee. You know what I mean? Doing something every day that propels the business forward. That is something. And consciously think about that. I'm not just saying do it and don't think about it. Think about it. Think about it. And that is going to be a big, big, big motivator for you. How much time we got left, guys? 2 minutes.
No way. No.
We're
Set the clock
over.
back.
We're going over.
We need Groundhog's Day.
Yeah. So, and don't get distracted from your larger goal. In other words, all the time that you're working in your industry, people are going to always be coming up to you and saying, hey, maybe you can come over and do this. They're going to try to get you in your goal because they see a successful person. They're going to be trying to take you over to their side, show you something else that takes you off your goal. You have to say, once again, no. You know, I can't do that. Understand that. Really look at it. Make sure it doesn't. There are things you have to do to achieve your goal that don't directly relate to it or your industry. But if something is taking you off your goal, get back to your goal. Or take a look at your goal.
That's right.
And see was my goal correct?
And every goal that you procrastinate on, it just mounts those goals back. Now you've got a hair clog.
You're caught in a spider web.
Exactly.
You're caught in a spider web. Okay. Connect with people on a very honest level. Forget about what good they can do you. Forget about how this is going to help me. Find out who they are.
Yes.
Understand their story. There's a reason you're meeting them. Now, I believe this. This is part of my spiritual life, but there's a reason you're meeting them. Find out their story. You know, don't just play business. Look a person in the eye, you know what I mean, and a pat on the back, whatever, but make a real connection with that person, and it's going to make a big difference to you.
It's a huge difference.
It will make a big difference to you and motivate you. Here's the thing, too, is maintain an even keel. You know, in the last few months, have had bouts of like, I'm PO'd, I'm mad, I'm snapping at somebody and stuff. That doesn't do you any good.
No.
And if you're like that, you're doing something wrong in the way that you're conducting your life. And it's not that you're a wrong person. Things are out of balance. You get out of balance. It happens to everybody. You have to reassess where you're at, and you have to maintain an even keel so somebody doesn't, oh, the guy's off his rocker, you know what I mean? He does this, the other time he was fine, you know, we don't know. So yeah, he's giving me the word. Okay. And we're probably going to go a little over. So, okay. And this is about motivating yourself now. This is about motivating yourself. Show everyone gratitude and thank everybody for what they've done to inspire you, and verbally tell them. You know, don't just write it in a post or something. Take them aside sometime. Make sure they understand that you value them and you value their input. And be sincere about that too, because I've had so many people set the example for me. I don't even know how to say it. They didn't tell me to do anything. I saw how they were, and I've gone back to every one of them and said, thank you for that. You don't know what you taught me. Here's what I learned from you.
I like that.
And you know what? That is a big motivator, and it really makes people appreciate what they do and who they are. You know, so
yeah, I just want to put a shout out to Dan Cos and Mike Uribe. I just want to thank you for everything you haven't done for me. Sorry, I had to say that.
Gary. Sorry, guys. Gary had just a little relapse there. You know, he couldn't go a full hour of listening to this without something happening.
Yes.
You know, so understand. We're working on. You're still with. You're okay.
It's okay.
You're okay.
I got a doctor's appointment right
after
this.
You're still with us. You're still with us, Gary. Okay, and here's another one. Don't cap your goals. Okay. Always be looking, as I said before, understanding your goals, re-examining your goals. Have you set the right goals? But expand your goals. Remember, you know, just give you an example. You know, I grew up in just kind of a rough family situation. You know, well, there were members of my family that I wanted to be better than. Okay, so when I was young and somewhat misguided, that was my goal, just to be better than these other family members.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
While that was, I think, admirable, that was a shallow goal. I needed a much larger goal. You know, I needed something, you know, be better than the president, which that's too easy now. I'm not even but be better than a lot of people. It wasn't just about my immediate parents. It was about, I need to be a better person. I need to help people, you know, and so so that when I matured, that became my goal.
Yeah,
you know, not just
and be flexible with your goals too.
Yes.
Because even though you hit that goal that you stride for, maybe just go a little further.
Go a little further.
Exactly. There's nothing that says you can't go one rung up.
Yeah, no, push it forward, Gary.
Absolutely.
Great advice, great advice. And finally, and the last one, treat yourself nice. Okay? Treat yourself nice. I'll be honest with you. I listen to myself talk to myself sometimes, and I think, you know what? If I talk to somebody else that way, I mean, it would be bad. I mean, I would be so ashamed of myself if I talked to somebody else that way, you know? It's so important to talk to yourself nicely, to actually cut yourself some slack, okay? You're not, you know, we always say, you know, you give 150% and you do this and you're going to make mistakes.
Yes.
Accept them. Live with yourself. Forgive yourself for something you did.
Sure.
You know, don't be hard on yourself, because you'll never be nice to anybody else if you are.
That's right.
Okay? So that's it for me, is just talk to yourself nicer.
That's right.
You know, forgive yourself. Let yourself be okay. You know?
I agree. I totally agree.
You got it?
Okay. Oh, you just saved me $150 for my psychiatrist. Thanks, Bernie.
Oh, they're a lot more expensive now.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That was back in the 70s.
Yeah,
150.
Yeah, that was 150 back in the 70s.
Great show today, Bernie.
Great show, buddy. We got to get going because we're a little over, but thank you, thank you. I hope you have great experiences out there. Just remember, go out there and kick ass.
That's right.
And just have fun. Forget everything else. Just have fun and kick ass.
Kick ass.
All right. We'll see you next week. Cut. That's a wrap.